Earlier, we were joined in the studio by Nicole Fritz, who is the Executive Director of the Johannesburg-based Southern Africa Litigation Center in South Africa. Thanks. Firstly, how did Mugabe manage to defy this travel ban?
Well, the Vatican, the Holy See, is not part of the European Union, and so they are not subject to the decisions taken by the EU. He was in transit through Rome, but in terms of treaties between the Vatican and Rome, they had to offer safe transit through.
Okay, so him defying this ban, what message does it send out to the rest of the world?
Well, I think, the message is one which is pretty shameful. I mean, from the Catholic Church, I have to say. And I mean, the Catholic Church has played, I think, has a very sort of mixed, often, I think, rather egregious history in Zimbabwe. I mean, we think about Archbishop Pius Mugabe of Bulawayo, who was defrocked, essentially, after having been caught on camera by the Central Intelligence Organization having sexual relations with an adult woman. You contrast that with the fact that the Catholic Church has not sanctioned any number of bishops and priests who are alleged to have committed, sexual indiscretions with young boys against their will, young children. There are all sorts of rumors of, pedophilia, and the Catholic Church hasn't taken a hard line. Pius Mugabe called to the Vatican, told to stop speaking out so forcefully against Robert Mugabe and his regime. Pius Mugabe has returned to Zimbabwe, is now a parish priest, and continues through his sort of model, I think, to represent the best of the Catholic Church.
But why is the Catholic Church condoning what's happening in Zimbabwe?
Well, exactly. I mean, I think the leadership now, in terms of inviting Robert Mugabe and his wife to attend and treating them as if they deserve sort of respect and honor, just shows how much and to some extent how out of kilter they are with what's happening in Africa and in Zimbabwe.
If we look back, the travel bans were instituted in 2002. Now we've had the unity government in place. Are these sanctions still justifiable for Zimbabwe?
Well, I mean, I think the question that has to be asked is, what has ZANU-PF done to deserve the lifting of those sanctions? These are sanctions very much of a type that have been imposed recently against Gaddafi and his associates. They're targeted sanctions. And you think about the progress. I mean, yes, there has been a sort of global political agreement put in place, but to what extent has ZANU complied with that? I mean, recent pronouncements by SADC show that there is increasing frustration with the intransigence of ZANU-PF. We have not seen the constitutional coherent, valid constitutional process put in place, the referendum that is required to happen before any elections. ZANU-PF wants to go straight to elections. They want to disregard the GPA. So to that extent, with such intransigence, I mean, the question has to be said, what is ZANU-PF doing to really justify lifting of those sanctions?
Now, apart from the targeted sanctions, in your opinion, what else can be done to pressurize ZANU-PF?
Well, I think, we're seeing SADC step up to the mantle. And I mean, I think South Africa leading the facilitation efforts. It's recent pronouncement saying there will be no elections without a credible constitution process, without a referendum in place. And it's that kind of leadership from the region, and not the leadership that has been shown by the Catholic Church, that we have to see more of if we're going to have any momentum and progress in Zimbabwe.
Thanks very much, Nicole, for joining us. That was Nicole Fritz, Executive Director of the Southern African Litigation Center.